principle of liberty, that we respect other people's freedom to believe or disbelieve whatever they want, and we have a Bill of Rights, we have a Constitution, and as long as that's in place and we have a rule of law, it doesn't matter what people believe or disbelieve. It's when they fly planes into buildings or pedophiles or whatever, we have rules and laws about all these things already. So I think we should keep doing what we're doing and just keep, you know, pushing forward that way.
I think that there is, particularly within the intelligentsia, a prejudice against Christianity. To some degree, I even share it. And what I mean by that is that the Christianity that we rebel against, and it was the Christianity that Voltaire rebelled against, was a Christianity that, because of the circumstances of Western history, linked throne and altar. It was a Christianity that became part of monarchy, it became part of the powers that be. That was the Christianity that carried out the Inquisition, and we are all rightly suspicious of it. I want to suggest that that isn't Christianity. In other words, Christianity as a universal system is going to, if you will, meld with whatever social, political, institutional arrangements are there. If Christianity existed in a socialist society, you'd have Christian socialism. If it's in a capitalist society, you'll have a Christian argument for free markets. So we should separate out things here. Just like sometimes people say, capitalism is selfish. No. But capitalism is selfish. The selfishness is in human nature. Capitalism steers it in such a way that it's in a way to try to make it promote the public good. In the same way that lust is in human nature. Marriage is intended to civilize lust and steer it to the raising of the next generation. So my point here is that I would like to see the prejudice that we have against, you can say, ancient Christianity and against the Christianity that's within us, but it's an adolescent Christianity. We should look at Christianity with fresh eyes, apply it to our lives today, and that's my point. I have at no point in this debate appealed to blind faith. I've appealed to the same reason as Shermer. We're arguing on the same basis. My point is that Christianity at the end of the day makes better sense of our world than a secular point of view that ultimately has things and can't explain them. Here's the universe, we know it had a beginning. Where did it come from? We don't know, but we'll explain later. This is what I call the atheism of the gaps. When we can't figure it out, atheism did it. We don't want the God of the gaps, but neither can we assume that if something is unexplained, it's going to be.
I'm going to interrupt before this next question, and I know that you patient folks who have been waiting there in the aisles for a while may attempt to stone me, but I'm going to allow, unfortunately, one more question, and I really appreciate your patience. And at that point, we're going to let the speakers close, and then if the audience has enough patience, please bear with me for a few closing remarks.
This guy's buying his place in life.
I am a homosexual. I am a god in this country. Adolf Hitler is a god in this country. I want to know why it is that when Donald Rumsfeld goes to Stratford, this man doesn't stay back there and concern himself with the work of Satan, but comes here and talks about God.
Thank you, sir.
How much are we being paid to hear that?
Actually, with the next questioner, please proceed with the question.
We'll explain that later. So I was born an atheist in the sense that I didn't know anything about God. I was baptized a Catholic. I was reborn a Christian, and today I'm an anti-theist. So with that being said, I have seen much good from man, but very little from God. If I am forced, or if I have to make a decision to place my faith somewhere, I choose to place it in reason. And excuse the reference to the deity, but thank God that I have the freedom of choice. There are, in Psalms 14 and 53, identical verses, both starting with the same, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God." And yet in Matthew 5:22, "But whoever so saith, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire."
Would you please jump right to the question?
There's two questions on it. Is there a reason for that remark that makes it considered so significant that it needs to be repeated in many, many different flavors and forms in there? And on the other side of it, they say that the road is narrow and that the horizon is wide, and that what is waiting for us on the other side is so rewarding and the ultimate prize. But
sir.
What good is something if you can't have it until you die?
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
I guess that's for you.
Very briefly, I would answer this. I think the reason the Bible uses the term the fool here is it's not so much a charge of ignorance as it is a charge of pride. In other words, the idea here is that, look how easy it is. You say you believe in reason, I believe in reason. We both believe in science. Science says that we are material beings. We are the product of physical laws. We are made up of physical matter. I agree with all that. And yet, looking at experience itself, not to heaven, I see dimensions of my human nature that seem inexplicable in the terms of materiality and deterministic explanation. To wit, here is a pen. I have the free choice of holding it or dropping it. If I drop it, its trajectory is totally determined by the laws of physics. But my decision to drop it is totally mine. I can go either way. You want to make a guess? You don't know. And the laws of physics don't either. My point is, the idea of the ghost in the machine is not some weird invention. It is practically supported by the empirical reality of free choice in the world. We could not live in the world if every day we don't make decisions that are free decisions. Morality would make no sense. You should never say to someone, you should not do
based
that.
on whose morality?
No, sorry, no more questions.
I'm not discussing relativism here. I am refuting the simple materialism that says that I am completely determined by the laws of nature. I'm saying that experience itself points to a ghost in the machine, a dimension of human nature that is not merely an extension of the laws of science, that involves what Kant calls the noumenal realm. And I'm appealing to experience and reason and science and philosophy to point to it.
Can I give up my... I have a short response, but I'm going to give it up, and if it's okay with the moderator, because he's been so patient.
Yes,
if you want to ask
I think that's fine. This will be the final question.
Yep, you're up.
This is for Dinesh. What, in your opinion, distinguishes Christian assumptions as more valuable than any arbitrary set of assumptions from which we can operate on a system of universality and comprehensibility?
Well, your question in its complexity inspires me the thought that it might have been better to have cut off the questions before. Look, I would apply a couple of thoughts here. One is a biblical principle, but it's also very secular. By their fruits ye shall know them, right? In other words, we judge the validity of an idea by looking at what it has done in the world. So, I simply ask myself, just as I would say, what would this world be like if the ancient Greeks had never lived? It would be a much more sordid place, I think, than it is, because they lived. So I say, what would Western civilization be like? Let's start moving through it. We'd have to take away the Dante. We'd have to take away Milton. We'd have to take away Raphael, Michelangelo. So not just at the superficial level, art, literature, and so on, but at the deeper level, we then come to the assumptions that we see distinguishing Western civilization. Take the assumption that every individual human life is precious and equally precious. This, I would argue, is indisputably the legacy of Christianity. And the reason we know it is other cultures haven't shared this value. The Christians defended it, the culture accepted it, even secular people who rebelled against Christianity preserved it. So, now Michael raises an interesting point. Can you kick out the Christianity and keep the value? This is a matter of debate. Nietzsche's answer, no. The reason is, ultimately when you subtract the foundation, all somebody has to do is ask the question, why? You're not respecting my rights. Why should I expect your rights? But you don't care about me. Precisely. But you're trying to harm me. So what? But you're only doing this for your benefit. Of course, who else's benefit should I look after? So my point is, we don't hear this kind of talk because we are still imbued with Christian assumptions. I grew up in a different culture. I hear it all the time. When you talk about Enron, every Indian business is Enron. Every corruption is normal. You want to get a job, how much are you willing to pay? My point is, the reason we recoil, the reason we write checks, the reason we are horrified, is even at churches.